Welcome to Dark Rule Stories, where every rule exists for a reason. Break it and face what should never be found. They told me the rule the same night I moved in. Never answer the knock at night, Mrs. Alvarez said. I laughed because that's what you do when a warning sounds too dramatic. Sure, I said. I don't usually open doors for strangers anyway. That's not what I mean, she replied. Then her fingers tightening around the edge of my door frame. She didn't smile. People usually smile when they welcome you. She just stared past my shoulder like something behind me might be listening. She stepped back into the hallway without another word. I laughed because that's what you do when a warning sounds too dramatic. Sure, I said. I don't usually open doors for strangers anyway. That's not what I mean, she replied. Then she stepped back into the hallway without another word. My apartment sits at the end of a narrow corridor on the 3rd floor. The building is old, thin walls, buzzing lights, pipes that groan like they're tired of holding themselves together. During the day, it feels normal. Neighbors pass, doors open and close, someone's TV always too loud. At night, the hallway changes. Sounds carry farther. Footsteps echo even when no one's walking. The air feels heavier, like the building is holding its breath. The first night passed quietly, the second too. I started to think Mrs. Alvarez was just superstitious, or maybe trying to scare the new tenant. Then, on the 3rd night, at exactly 2:14 a.m., someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks, not aggressive, not rushed, polite. I froze in bed, phone lighting up my hands. I checked the time again just to be sure I wasn't half asleep. The knock came again, same rhythm, same pressure. Hello? A voice said from the other side. A man's voice. Calm. Familiar in a way I couldn't place. My first instinct was annoyance. Maybe a neighbor locked out. Maybe a drunk mistake. I swung my legs off the bed and took 2 steps toward the door before Mrs. Alvarez's words snapped back into my head. Never answer the knock at night. I stopped inches from the handle. Hey, the voice said softly. I know you're in there. My breath caught. I just need to talk to you for a minute. The hallway light outside flickered, leaking a thin line under my door. Then the man said my name, exactly the way my brother used to say it. And I understood all at once that whoever was knocking already knew me. I didn't answer. My hand hovered near the lock, trembling while the voice on the other side waited. I could hear breathing now slow, patient, like it had all the time in the world. Come on, it said gently. You moved in 3 days ago. Boxes still unpacked. You sleep on your left side. Cold spread through my chest. The doorknob turned slightly. Not enough to open, just enough to let me know it could. I stepped back, every instinct screaming at me to put distance between myself and that door. The knocking stopped. For a moment there was nothing but the low hum of the hallway light. Then footsteps. They didn't retreat down the hall. They moved closer, slower, until they stopped directly outside my door again. You're being rude, the voice said. Different now. Deeper. Irritated. I knocked. Something scraped softly against the wood, like fingernails testing its strength. I stayed silent until morning. When sunlight finally cut through my curtains, I opened the door. The hallway was empty. No footprints, no marks. Just Mrs. Alvarez standing across the hall, holding her keys like a weapon. It knocked, didn't it? She asked. I nodded. She exhaled, shoulders sagging. Good, you listened. What is it? I asked. She shook her head. Doesn't matter. It learns when you answer questions. That night, the knocking came again. 2:14 a.m., 3 slow knocks. This time, it sounded like my mother, crying. I know you're scared, she sobbed. Please, just open the door. I pressed my palms over my ears, sliding down the wall until I was sitting on the floor. The crying turned to quiet laughter, then to anger, then to silence. The next morning, a police car sat outside the building. Apartment 3B 2 doors down was empty. The tenant's nameplate had been removed. No one would say why. That evening, Mrs. Alvarez knocked on my door during daylight. "It's getting closer to you," she said. "It does that when it's interested." My stomach twisted. Interested how? She looked down the hall, then back at me, like a locked door it wants to see opened. That night the knock didn't come at 2:14. It came at 9:37. Harder this time. Impatient. And when I didn't answer, something whispered through the crack beneath my door. "Rules only work if you keep believing in them." The handle rattled, and the lock began to turn. The lock stopped turning on its own, not because I touched it, but because whatever was on the other side decided it was done trying. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor with my back against the bed, staring at the door until the sky lightened. When morning came, I found deep scratches around the handle. Not pry marks, not forced entry. Testing. By noon, half the building felt empty. Doors stayed closed. No music. No TVs. Even the hallway lights seemed dimmer. I cornered Mrs. Alvarez near the stairwell. "It tried the lock," I said. She didn't look surprised. It always does before it changes tactics. Tactics? My voice cracked. "You talk like this thing thinks." She finally met my eyes. "It does." She told me then quietly, like the walls might lean in if she spoke too loud. The knocks had started years ago. Always polite at first. Always sounding like someone you trusted. If you opened the door, you were never seen again. No bodies, no signs of struggle. Just empty apartments and missing names. "Why me?" I asked. Mrs. Alvarez's lips pressed thin. "Because you listen." That night, the power went out at exactly 2:14. No hallway light, no hum, just darkness. Then the knock came. One knock. Too close. Too heavy. I held my breath. "Please," a voice said. My voice perfectly copied. I think I locked myself out. I felt sick. The doorbell rang. Once, then twice. Then knocking erupted, angry now, desperate, shaking the frame. "Open the door." The sound wasn't human anymore. Too many tones layered together, overlapping, arguing with themselves. I screamed for it to stop. Silence fell instantly. After a moment, something slid under my door. A photograph. Me, standing in the hallway, taken from behind. On the back, written in careful handwriting, "Tomorrow you'll answer." The power came back on, and from the hall I heard Mrs. Alvarez screaming. Her door stood wide open. Mrs. Alvarez was gone. No dragged. Not taken violently. Her apartment looked like she'd simply stepped out, chair pulled back, tea still warm on the table. The front door stood open, swaying slightly, tapping the wall again and again like a slow clock. No one called the police. No one asked questions. By noon, her nameplate was gone. That night, every light in my apartment stayed on. I didn't sit by the door. I didn't hide. I waited in the middle of the room, heart hammering, because I finally understood something Mrs. Alvarez never said out loud. The rule wasn't about the door. It was about permission. At 2:14 a.m. the knock came. 3 slow knocks. I didn't move. "My turn," the voice said, calm again, confident. "You're tired. You're alone. You want this to stop." The handle turned. I spoke for the first time. "You don't get to come in." Silence. Then a laugh, low, irritated. "You don't make the rules." "No," I said, my voice shaking but steady. "But I follow them." The doorknob rattled violently. The door bowed inward, wood groaning under impossible pressure. Shadows slid under the frame, stretching, searching. "You'll open it eventually," it hissed. "Everyone does." "Maybe," I said, "but not tonight." The knocking stopped. Minutes passed. Then footsteps retreating. Slow. Unhappy. Morning came. I moved out that afternoon. Didn't pack much. Just essentials. As I carried my last box down the stairs, I felt it watching from behind every door. At the exit, I paused. Behind me, faint but familiar. 3 slow knocks. Not on a door. On the inside of my head. I never answered. And wherever I live now, I don't open doors at night. No matter who's knocking. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. And if you carry a story you want told, email me at darkrulesstories@gmail.com.